The story starts with a girl when she was walking down the hill when she saw something terrifying. There were plenty of parking spaces around, but the hearse driver had deliberately parked his vehicle right next to hers. She was trying to get into the driver's seat, but the door was completely locked. When the girl couldn't get into the car, the man sitting inside smiled and offered to help her. The strange thing was, the weather was clear, yet he was holding an umbrella. The innocent girl didn't realize that the person in front of her was actually someone with a distorted mentality. That was the moment when her nightmare began. When she regained consciousness, she found herself tied up in the back seat. She saw that the man was driving the car, and she tried to move her hands and inform the police using her phone, but she didn't know that the man had already sensed her plan. Due to no network, all her hopes shattered. Fortunately, she had a small knife in her pocket. She took out the knife and tried to free herself. To distract the man, she started talking to him, and at that moment, the man revealed that she resembled his deceased girlfriend. To fulfill his mental deficiency, he wanted to keep her captive. At the same time, the girl managed to cut the ropes tying her. The car lost control and crashed straight into a tree. The girl tried to run away quietly, but the man grabbed her hair. A scuffle broke out between the two. Panicked, the woman pulled the seatbelt and strangled the man's neck. The man pulled the seat switch and managed to save himself. Meanwhile, the girl picked up the knife and started waving it up and down, making the man hesitant to come near her. Both of them got out of the car. During this time, the girl managed to cut the rope tied around her feet, but as soon as she tried to escape, the man appeared in front of her. She confronted the man with a knife, but the man just smiled, looked at his watch, and asked her if she was feeling anything strange. The girl couldn't understand what he had done to her. Suddenly, she saw him take out an injection from his pocket and tell her that he had injected her with a muscle relaxant. In a short while, she would feel weakness in her legs, and soon after, she would completely lose the ability to walk. Eventually, she wouldn't even be able to make a sound. The girl was terrified and ran towards the forest. Soon, the effect of the drug started, and her fingers began to weaken. The man was slowly following her, telling her to surrender, but under no circumstances did she want to fall into his hands, so she kept running. With time, numbness started to spread in her legs, which slowed her down. Finally, dragging her numb legs, she hid inside the hollow of a dried-up tree. The man kept searching for her, but couldn't find her there, and eventually went off in another direction. The girl sat there holding her breath, making no sound. But she didn't realize she had entered an area infested with ants. Suddenly, a swarm of ants started crawling all over her. Already afraid of ants, the girl panicked, and her screams brought the man back to her location. Seeing his prey slipping away enraged the man, and he clenched his teeth in frustration. The girl was now drifting away in the water with a fierce current ahead. Her legs had completely stopped working, and despite wanting to, she couldn't do anything. She was completely at the mercy of the situation. She didn't know how long she kept drifting, but eventually she grabbed hold of a piece of wood and, using all her strength, swam towards the shore. After going through this needless suffering, the girl was exhausted, and her breathing was heavy. In just a short while, the effect of the medicine completely took over, causing her to collapse to the ground, completely unable to move. Eventually, she even lost the ability to speak. But coincidentally, there was an elderly man nearby who was cutting grass. He saw her lying on the ground, picked her up, and realized that she wasn't physically injured, but she was unable to move. Only her eyes were able to move. The elderly man tried to ask her questions, and the girl responded with eye movements. However, the elderly man couldn't understand much. Still, he brought a small trolley from nearby to take her home. Just as he was thinking of calling the police, there was a knock at the door. The girl blinked her eyes repeatedly, signaling danger. The elderly man immediately understood that there was some danger outside, but still, he opened the door. Standing outside was the same mentally unstable man who had guessed that the elderly man had rescued little Mega. The man made up a false story, claiming he had met with an accident and his wife was missing. He asked the elderly man for help, but the elderly man refused him at the door. After that, the elderly man came inside, intending to call the police, but the man barged into the house and sat on the sofa. He said he wanted to use the elderly man's phone as he had lost his own phone in the accident, and then he started crying. The elderly man felt sympathy for him and decided to listen to his story. The man said that while driving through the forest, his wife suddenly fell ill, which caused him to lose control of the car. The car crashed into a tree, and he fell unconscious. When he woke up, his wife was missing. He explained that whenever his wife gets sick, she becomes unable to move or speak. The man narrated the story so convincingly that it sounded true, and even the old man didn't suspect him. Just as the old man was about to say something about the girl, the man's phone started ringing. Hearing the phone call and the conversation, the old man realized the man was lying. He became certain that the man was not telling the truth. The old man told him that the girl wasn't there and suggested he search elsewhere. When the man realized he had been caught, he began to reveal his true nature and threatened the old man to tell him the woman's whereabouts. The old man tricked him by giving him a fake address. When the man came closer and started questioning him further, the old man suddenly attacked him and ran to call the police. But the angry, mentally unstable man became violent. However, he couldn't overpower the old man, who managed to knock him to the ground. But the man was cunning. He quietly picked up a knife from the ground and killed the old man. After that, he brought petrol from the store to destroy the evidence. The girl witnessed everything, but her condition was such that she couldn't do anything. Right before her eyes, the man who had saved her lost his life. The fire slowly started spreading, and she felt that soon she too would burn in the flames. With all her remaining strength, she pulled the rope of the nearby curtain to grab the attention of the man standing outside. The man, who was getting ready to leave in the car, finally noticed the movement of the curtain. The girl somehow managed to save her life, but she was still extremely terrified. Because falling into that man's hands was no less than dying while still alive. On the way, they stopped at a petrol station. The man filled the car with petrol and then went inside to pay. This was a good opportunity for the girl, but her body couldn't move, and she couldn't get out to seek help. Just then, a little boy and his mother passed by the car. The girl wanted to ask them for help, but no sound came out of her mouth. She just kept staring at them helplessly. After a short while, the man returned to the car after paying, and then they both left for another place. To leave no evidence behind, the man intended to take the car elsewhere and burn it. Just then, a police officer arrived there for inspection. Actually, he had sensed something strange and called the police. In front of the police officer, the man lied again, saying that his wife was driving under the influence, which caused the accident, and he refused to take any help from the police. The police did not believe his words at all. He intended to question the girl sitting in the car. When he looked closely, he sensed that something was wrong. When the truth started coming out, the man quietly picked up the tow hook, attacked the police officer, and then poured petrol into the car and set it on fire. With these continuous incidents, the man's intention to finish off the girl grew even stronger. After this, he took the girl in a boat to the middle of a lake with the intention of leaving her somewhere. Seeing the man's horrifying intentions, the girl felt there was no hope left for her survival. Suddenly, she made one last request and asked the man to loosen her ropes so that she wouldn't die such a helpless death. The man thought that she had been given a muscle relaxant, so she wasn't a threat, and he loosened the ropes.
But as soon as he did that, the girl suddenly started rocking the boat, causing the man to lose his balance and fall into the lake. The man was trying to get out of the water when the girl grabbed his gun and fired. She thought her nightmare was finally over, but another danger appeared. The gunshot had created a hole in the boat, and water started filling in. In no time, the boat began to sink. Fortunately, the effect of the drug wore off at that moment, and the girl gathered all her strength to swim toward the shore. Meanwhile, the man also somehow managed to reach the shore. The girl approached him and decided to leave him in a state where he was unable to save himself. In this way, the girl defeated the dangerous man with her intelligence and bravery and ended her terrifying nightmare. And with this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts, and also subscribe to this channel for more horror stories like this.